You may have seen these Stinger amplifiers popping up on Amazon. And today we're going to test the MT700.1 and learn a little bit about the backstory behind the brand. Unboxing the amp, we see that it comes with a bass knob. Now this knob is a little bit different. It has a separate mounting plate. I like that. Sometimes you might want to mount your bass knob to a panel in your vehicle by drilling a hole through the panel, and that typically means disassembling your standard bass knob. This one's already apart. Checking out the controls on the side of the amp, this amp has an input and then a second set of RCAs labeled bridge in and bridge out. Those are used for strapping two amps together. That means you can take a second MT700.1 and combine the output from two of these into a single subwoofer, just like you might bridge the channels of a two-channel amplifier. Like most amplifiers these days, it does have a crossover. Also comes with an infrasonic filter plus a bass boost. If you've watched any of my videos, you know I'm not a huge fan of bass boost, but this one is a little bit different. This amp lets you select the frequency, and I do actually like that feature. There is no onboard fuse, and the manual says to use an 80 amp external fuse. So let's hook up this amp so we can test it. While I'm doing that, here's a short history lesson before we fire up the amp dyno in just a minute. If you're not familiar with Stinger Electronics, the brand has been around for several decades and got its start selling wire and wire accessories. And it's owned by a company called Amp Global that also owns brands like PAC and EchoMaster, brands that tend to focus on vehicle integration. In 2022, Amp acquired Audio Control. Amp also owns Phoenix Gold. The legendary old school brand was acquired in 2009, but the brand is no longer listed on the Amp website. So what happened to Phoenix Gold? Well, Phoenix Gold got its start like Stinger, offering wire and accessories, but then it branched off into amplifiers and it made some really cool stuff, such as a Cyclone subwoofer and a big 12,000 watt amp known as the One. If you want to learn more about those old school amps, I recommend you check out this website. It's called the Phoenix Gold Registry. I'll be sure to give you a link down in the video description. If you look at the recent history of Phoenix Gold, Amp has been working really hard to bring it back to its glory days. And they've got a ton of press releases on their website announcing new products up through about 2021. But as of 2023, Phoenix Gold is only available in the European market. Meanwhile, Stinger has been expanding its product lineup, focusing on off-road ATV and vehicle-specific products, and of course, aftermarket accessories and integration. Stinger made a huge splash in 2019 when it debuted a 10-inch touchscreen head unit. The High 10, it had a ton of modern features plus a fiber optic output. Fast forward to 2023 and Stinger is selling a new line of amplifiers, subwoofer enclosures, and subwoofers alongside their sister brand Audio Control. I'll make sure to give you a link to those cool Audio Control subwoofers down in the video description. And that is an interesting coincidence. Phoenix Gold has pulled out of the US market and Audio Control starts offering subwoofers, while Stinger appears to have taken over the rest of the Phoenix Gold product line. I hate to see that old brand disappear, but it turns out to be good news for customers like us, because Amp as a company has been around for a long time. They're known for making great stuff. They also appear to be pursuing an aggressive price strategy with these amplifiers. If this thing can make power, it may be the new go-to amp if you're on a budget. So let's find out. Starting with the 4 ohm test, the manual claims 300 watts. We're watching for the red light right here. When it lights up, we have 1% total harmonic distortion. And at 4 ohms, we get 352 watts. Rolling on up to clipping, I'm not really sure what we get. The light started flashing instead of staying on. But the AMM1 shows 354 watts at clipping. Looks like we're pulling about 29 amps at 14 volts for about 86% efficiency. So the result is well above the 300 watt power rating. It appears this amp is going to have no trouble making its rated power. Rewiring the resistor bank to get a 2 ohm load. Now we're looking for 500 watts. We get 557 at 1% total harmonic distortion and 576 at clipping. Now, my method for measuring efficiency is not very scientific. All I'm doing is syncing the audio on these two tracks. And my efficiency number at 1% THD didn't seem to be valid, but I did get 85% efficiency at clipping. Moving on to the 1 ohm test. We get 807 watts at 1% THD. I didn't get any valid data for the current draw, so I can't calculate efficiency at 1 ohm. Clip happens at 867 watts. The meter then continues to count up to 877. Before we hook this thing up to a subwoofer, let's take a look at what we know so far. If you like this video and you want to see more videos like this, then please consider supporting the channel over on Patreon. The names of my $10 patrons are scrolling across the screen right now, and I want to give a shout out to my $25 patrons, Bo, Dylan, Fargo, JD America, David, and Baba. Patrons get early access to videos and behind the scenes information. So the amp has no trouble making its rated power. It's compact, it's strappable, meaning you can bridge it to another MT 700.1. It has a low pass crossover, an infrasonic filter, adjustable bass boost, and a bass knob. The only thing it's missing is a clip light. But that's not the end of the story. Let's try a 40 hertz test on a subwoofer, because people don't listen to resistors, people listen to speakers. For this test, I'm using this Hyenka 15-inch subwoofer. More information about this subwoofer in just a bit. Check this out, 975 watts at 1% THD into a 2.7 ohm load. I wasn't able to turn it up enough to get it to clip. I think I needed more gain on the amp. Now let's try it on music. Check this out, I've got the amp dyno in real-time power mode. And it came up just shy of 1200 watts. That's not very scientific, but it is a ton of fun. To learn more about that 15-inch subwoofer, click right here. I'm Justin, this is the DIY Audio Guy YouTube channel, and I will see you on the next adventure.